Hello, welcome everyone. Today is a very special day where we're going to talk about how to prepare and style your workspace for virtual meetings. We all want to be more productive, organized, and inspired while working from home. As well, some of our important business and networking conversations have taken place and will continue to take place from the comfort of our own home. And it'll most probably become the new norm post-pandemic. We're taking our clients, our coworkers, our new social connections into our personal space. So it's important that it be reflective of our personal brands. And this is where fabulosity of Leslie Lehr comes in with her magic. Leslie is a professional organizer, blogger, and lifestyle expert who owns the organizing business Leslie Lehr Living. And here's her guide, Tidy Tips with Less. Here's her guide to productive, inspiring, and effective home workspace. Les, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Leslie Lehr. I'm a professional organizer and a lifestyle expert. And during the quarantine, the pandemic, I've created a special kind of tip, if you will, on how to successfully prepare your home office, not only to be productive, but to also demonstrate your brand as you are conducting virtual meetings. And the key is to look for pieces that are not only stylish, but also offer functionality. And we're going to do this, and we're going to talk today about some of the key tips that I share with my clients. And that includes focusing on detail, avoiding clutter, which is key, and using creativity to identify stylish solutions. So with that in mind, yes, I'm so excited to be here. And I'm going to first just kind of talk about step one in your process as it relates to virtual meetings. And my first step is to prepare. And what I mean by that is set up your office space in advance of your virtual meeting. So for some of us, we actually have an office space. This is my office. This was formerly a closet that we converted into a workspace. So just something to consider for you out there as you're looking for spaces to work from home. Really come up with creativity. So look for areas that can become a workspace. So for me, we had this closet that wasn't being used, and I just rolled up my sleeves and created a space that not only allows me to be productive, but it inspires me because it has pieces that I love that represent my brand and my business. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, what I would like to do, as we talked about preparing for virtual meetings, it's preparation, and that's key. So before you conduct your next meeting, set up whatever device you're going to use for your message. So in my case, I use an iPad to conduct my meeting. Take a couple of days in advance and set it up. You can put it on video mode so that you can see what your audience is going to actually experience. And that is so critical because it's going to help you ensure that the background is professional and that it represents you and your message. In my case, it's my brand. So I'm all about living a clutter-free life, but with style and personality. And so it's important for my background to show a little bit about the design that I represent. Blue and white is something I'm passionate about. So this is self-adhesive wallpaper that I installed myself. I've got blue and white, which is a part of my Leslie Lehr Living brand. I have a white desk, floating shelves with pieces that I selected that are accessories that represent my personality and my interests. So I've got some pops of color, and we do that with pieces that are natural. So fresh flowers are a great way to bring in some natural elements and bring some joy. but I also love finding key pieces that really are passion projects. So I love blue and white, China. I love food dogs. I've got some coffee table books that not only add some color, but they also demonstrate my interest in travel and what my message is. And I look for pieces that can be 2-in-1. So this blue and white ginger jar is a jar. So when it's not stylish, it can add function by adding a storage solution in my workspace.
Ooh, smart.
So first things first, we talk about clutter. Always remove the clutter from your workspace. When you have clutter during a virtual meeting, your viewer is only focused on that. How many of us have watched the news and you're not listening to the message because behind that newscaster is some chaos? So
Yeah.
let's eliminate let's eliminate the clutter, right? So take that time, eliminate the clutter, and find some pieces that are going to enhance your space. I love, Agatha, what you've done in your space because it really represents you and your brand. So you've got some pretty flowers behind you.
Let me change the screen to see if we can.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
So Agatha has a perfect example of how she has prepared in advance. She now has conducted so many of these virtual meetings, and she knows she's got a great art piece behind her that is not reflective, because when it's reflective, it does cause distractions.
And you know why it's not reflective? Because I didn't turn on the light above us. I have a special light that we'll probably talk about later, but that you told me about.
So she's got her great artwork. She's got two beautiful abstract natural pieces. They're feathers. So with network to network, I feel like it's your
Grand departure.
Exactly. You're taking flight. She's got her She Boss, which is so important because that represents her brand. Mm-hmm. I see a coffee table book that's stylish because Agatha's stylish. It's also just a great neutral color and it ties into the background. Mm-hmm. She's got a console. I mean, she's picked out perfect pieces that not only are professional, but they're put together beautifully, and it allows us as the audience to really take in her message and to focus on Agatha.
And kind of get to know me without distractions.
Exactly. And you can refer to some of that. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you mentioned preparation. Sorry.
That's
preparation. But once you've done it, once it's set, you don't have to do it over and over again unless you have an iPad that you take off and put back on there. You kind of have to test it out. But once it's set, it's set.
Absolutely. And I think that's so key because preparation, we know, is so important anytime we're conducting a meeting. Mm-hmm. But more what we're seeing today is that virtual meetings are mini presentations that we are conducting regularly, but it can be very distracting for us because we can see ourselves, and it's the only time many of us have been in this situation where we can see ourselves. And what that can do, and I know I'm guilty of this, I can find myself fidgeting or seeing my background going, oh my goodness, like actually making changes or playing with our hair and lighting when we should just be focused on what we're discussing. So by preparing, we're eliminating that and we're just delivering the message and connecting with our clients and developing those relationships organically, which is what we want to do, without some of the additional distractions.
You're fully present to be able to connect. You're fully available. You don't have the fears or the limiting beliefs of, oh my gosh, I did my hair, my goodness. I never thought of that. Leslie, you're a wizard.
Well, and Agatha, really it's preparation because I've now, it's been months of having to do these meetings, which have been a blessing that we have this technology. I've learned ways that we can be the best of ourselves through these circumstances. And so preparation is key. Lighting, I know we talked a little bit about lighting, you mentioned it. So this is something that many of us have not had to consider, is lighting. And so lighting, so there's design lighting that we're going to hopefully touch on when you're designing a space. Lamps, pendants, those are all pieces that are critical for design. But with virtual meetings, there's a whole nother level of lighting that is helpful. Maybe not necessary. You'll know firsthand when you video yourself the first time, you'll be able to see if lighting is required. So when you video yourself, like right now I'm seeing Agatha and she looks so beautiful with her lighting just right on. She's not shadowed. And that is so important because when she is shadowed, we can't see her and we need to see her. So I've invested in a ring light that's helped me make sure that I'm properly lit for these meetings. I've got a tall ring light, a stand. I also have mini lights. And the mini lights are great when you have a desk that you can put your phone on a stand and the mini light will illuminate your face, which is key because we want to see that face. We want to, right? That's how we connect, right? But really, I mean, preparation, when you do your research, you'll know firsthand when that's required. And you can invest in small pieces and then just work your way up if it's necessary.
And there's some great deals on Amazon too, where you can test it. And then if it doesn't work, you can return it and just have fun with it.
Absolutely. And I think when you your workspace and how you're going to conduct your meeting, that will help you determine what you need. If you are going to be facing your desk, like Agatha is, her computer in front of her, then you might be able to just have your light right there on your desk. I actually use my desk space that I usually face that way as my backdrop, because if I were to put my ring light the other way, I have some windows behind me that are reflective and you wouldn't be able to see me clearly. And so that's just something I've learned from practice.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the location, plan ahead, preparations, remove distractions, lighting. What's next? Professional image?
Absolutely. So this is so important, right? Like, I'm going to use Agatha as an example. Agatha is dressed so beautifully, professionally. She's got a great necklace on. Her hair is done beautifully. She's got her makeup on. This is all a key example on your professional image. So what Agatha has learned, I think, from conducting a lot of these meetings is that,
and from you,
by taking,
from the expert herself.
Well, thank you. But by taking the time to just make sure that your outfit represents you and your message as well as your brand, she is dressed and ready to be professional, and her image is demonstrating that. I think many of us have seen that with the Zoom calls and by working from home, sometimes there's a tendency to be a little bit more relaxed in our attire and maybe our approach, which is great because we are at home, right? But when we're conducting an important meeting, we want to be our best that we can be. And for many of us, that just means, my goodness, just put on a professional top, because many of us are just, right, being seen top up. I like to be from head to toe because it helps me. It's one of the tips my mom taught me. When you dress for success, you're going to feel successful. So for me, I've got my heels on. I mean, because that just makes me feel more confident. And when I'm put together and when I feel like I'm looking my best, I feel more confident in the message I'm delivering. And that is so important because we are now developing these business relationships through a virtual setting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not, I'm a hugger, toucher. Like I like to really develop my relationships personally. And so this is my way of representing myself and my brand when I can't be there in person.
I'm 100% with you. So yesterday I had I had a call with clients, and on a Sunday, beautiful weekend, and I love it. I love it. It's a great way to end the week and then start the new week. But I thought to myself, I had a beautiful top on, and then I still was running around the house in my joggers, and I'm like, I actually don't have to change. And then I was like, yeah, because it's mental. It does something. There's a mental shift that happens when you're top to bottom, bottom to top. On top of it, you're gonna bring your best you because you'll feel confident. It does something mentally.
Absolutely. And I find that during this pandemic, when I need to be at my desk, I am dressing the way I do normally because it's about being in the right mind space. And that is part of my routine is getting up, getting showered, making the bed, whatever your regular routine is, still incorporate that because it is going to translate in your virtual meeting and you'll just feel great. What it will also do is prevent that distraction that can occur. I've been in many meetings over the past few months, whether it be for business or some of the community involvement that I am a member of. And when we do the Zoom calls, there might be one or two participants who just kind of dialed in last minute. Mm-hmm. And they'll even say, oh, excuse me, I'm not, I just came from here.
Yeah.
And they're spending that critical time highlighting that they're not feeling their best and that they're not looking their best. And it becomes it can be a distraction. So that solution is
the tone on the professionalism.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, a couple of my tidy tips. When you're preparing, make sure you consider what is your look, like what is your brand representing. Mm-hmm. So if you're in a true business environment and it's more professional, you want to show that's how you're representing yourself with what you're wearing. So a dress, or if you want to wear a sports coat with a polo shirt underneath, if it's a blouse, take this into consideration. And you may find that that's your go-to every time you conduct a virtual meeting. That's A-okay. But ensure that you're selecting key pieces that do represent you. Make sure that they are comfortable when you're sitting down. I see this happening often. Someone puts an outfit on and maybe it's a little misfitted. It could cause you to play with your clothing during the meeting, and we want to avoid that. You want to just be you without any distractions. So pick out your outfits in advance. Go with something that you feel comfortable in and you have that confidence that will come through in your Zoom meeting. Make sure your hair, just take a moment, that there's no flyaways. I have a problem with flyaways, so I just spray a little hairspray. And ensure that the accessories you're wearing are simple, but in Agatha's case, it's a great piece that's stylish, but it's not causing a noise. It's just clean, professional, chic, stylish, just like Agatha.
Thanks. And then you always wear, I've noticed, the colors of your brand too, or a tone of the colors of your brand, right?
Yes. So I have a uniform and it's just part of my brand. And for those who follow me on TV or on Instagram, I wear white jeans year round. That's just part of me. So when I'm designing and actually in someone's home or office, you'll see me in a pair of white jeans and always blue. Blue is just my statement color, and it it's a color that uh, complements my hair and eyes, but it's also part of my brand. And so my closet is full of blue, from that casual to professional. And so it allows me to kind of simplify my wardrobe, and I just know my go-to pieces for a virtual meeting. I know what dresses and tops I'm going to wear. And then when I dash after this, I'm going to go to a client. I'll put on a blue top and my white jeans, and I'm ready for installing some clutter-free office solution.
I love that. I love that. That's awesome. And it's recognizable. It's like a subliminal message over and over again, and it makes you think of you, every time somebody sees a white with blue, it's like, oh, Leslie, is that Leslie? Is she in Florida?
Exactly.
Okay, so shall we move into the style guide, or do you feel like you've covered
Absolutely.
it?
Absolutely. Okay. So style is critical when it comes to not only your home, but your office space. And to do that successfully, consider what makes you happy, what represents you and your personality. I think it's easy for us in our workspace to make it more kind of industrial, because that's what we're used to seeing in offices. When we work from home, we can bring in more of our style, personal style, but allow it to still reflect what you are representing in your business.
Ooh, okay, you heard it here, people. You have permission from the one and only Leslie Lehr to bring in your style and fashion.
Absolutely. And, I'm going to use a client of mine that is a successful lighting. He owns several lighting companies, and he's a landscape lighting expert here in Phoenix. And when I was hired to style and organize his workspace last year, it was so cool because his interest, of course, is lighting. And so we use that to enhance his space and style. So his style is a little bit more kind of craftsman style in the interior of his home. So that was something that we want to consider. What does the rest of the house look like? Because we want to incorporate that design into your workspace and enhance it. But also, let's bring in some of the pieces that your business is based on. So for this client, he had this beautiful collection of coffee table books all about lighting. And we used those in various ways to not only style his shelves by color and by topic, but also we used them as ways to enhance some key accessories, which you did behind you, Agatha, with your book. And as you can see above me, we can use them not only as ways to house your book collection, but also in a decorative way. So the lighting came through in his coffee table books, and then we found some of his light pieces that were brass, that were gorgeous, and we used them as abstract statues and designed them in groups of 3 throughout his bookshelves and on his desk, and it became artwork. So anytime he had a client coming into his home, or now with virtual meetings, not only is he showing just a clutter-free, stylish workspace, but his pieces are representing his business. And it comes through so well for the audience to see that.
And it's a great, now I'm thinking of my hair, Liz.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's a great also icebreaker, because if he has a virtual meeting with a potential client or with anybody, a new social connection, they can be like, is this your brand? Did you make this? And it's
Absolutely.
available. So it's a great way also to be an icebreaker and to dive deeper right away.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. So for this client in particular, one of the gifts that he gives his clients are these beautiful wine boxes that has the logo, his company logo, burnt onto the wood piece.
Wow.
And we use that behind his desk on his bookshelves as a storage solution, but also it housed an abstract piece above it. But it allowed his brand and his logo to be displayed. So it's a way for him to showcase his company. So that's something to consider. Let's take these pieces that are stylish, that share your brand and your logo, put them in key places so that you can be promoting yourself in a very subtle way. Mm-hmm. So for him, he had that piece that was really artistic, but maybe you have a book that you have published. I would use your space to style with those books so that it can come up in conversation in a subtle way to say, oh, as a matter of fact, that is my new book. Or for you, Agatha, you've got She Boss. That's a part of your brand, but the gold and the white is a part of your brand. So you've incorporated that so that you can talk about it should that question come up.
It's actually the book, the She book, was gifted to me by one of my girlfriends. It's Kate Spade, and it's a great coffee book table. And I love it. I have it here because it speaks of, it's a repertoire of muses, visionaries, and madcap heroines. And it's a reminder for myself of, it puts me in the mindset, first of all. And then when people ask about it, it's like, it's storytelling. There's a story behind it, and you get to connect with the person right away.
And I think that's what's key as well. As we talk about style, consider pieces that are going to be inspiring to you. So you've included something that inspires you. But if I were one of your clients, maybe I've read that book as well. And that's a great way for us to connect and share some interest. Like, oh my goodness, I read that book and it's such a great story. And so I think that's part of this style component of Workspaces, is to surround yourself with pieces that do bring you joy and inspiration. And by having some of your personality shine through, which we may not have had that chance in a traditional office, but we can today, it's going to help you with the networking and relationships that you're trying to build.
Mm-hmm. Preach. Preach. It's a great icebreaker. It shows your personality. It brings you in, and it builds that like, no trust factor a lot faster than in a clinical, industrial, as you called it, environment. You get to actually peek into the person. Who are you speaking with, and what are they like? And so
absolutely. And so let's think about that for a moment, because it also includes, I've got, my family is behind me, because that's a big part of who I am. And they were the ones who encouraged me to start my business. So for those people that I'm talking to, potential new clients that are also, family is important. They see that I'm a mom and I'm an entrepreneur trying to juggle it all. And that may be the connection, is that, okay, she's working from home, she gets it. Like, my daughter is in high school and she's upstairs on virtual meetings. This is our reality today. And I think it makes us, when we can share a little piece of ourselves through these meetings, it allows people to now get a little piece of who we are personally that they didn't have that window to before.
Mm-hmm. And
it makes us more human.
It makes us more human. I was just gonna say, it enables that connection, and it builds trust a lot faster when you get to see into someone versus
absolutely
area,
and I think that, do you talk about that, Agatha, during your networking? I feel like it's almost, we're so fortunate that they do get to see a little bit more of us because the assumption could be, oh, she's only this, she wouldn't maybe understand that professionalism is only one aspect. And by having this, you can see a little bit more of your playfulness and personality and know that, gosh, we're probably going through the same things. Even though you're in Florida, I'm in Arizona, like we're still going through a lot of the same things. And we have that connection that's developing our relationships professionally.
100%. 100%. Shall we move into the Q&A, or do you have some extra?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So we have here a little Q&A for Tidy Tips with Les. That's a mouthful. I need to practice saying that. It's because English is not my first language. Okay. So did you see how I just went like this? No, I am not getting older. Les, how can we make our home office light us up, shine, bright like a diamond?
Right. Well, I think this is key. We talked about the ring lights, right, for production purposes.
Diva ring lights.
Right, but on a style side, I am all about finding great light sources. So whether it be a lamp, or I've got a pendant that we installed in here, light is a great way to enhance a space, illuminate it. So look for pieces that represent your style and that may add a little bit more kind of harmony into the space. So finding the right piece, whether it be sconces, pendants, or a desk lamp, that subtle addition can really illuminate your workspace.
And how about also candles in the background to illuminate the background?
I love that.
Yes?
Absolutely. So for me, so illuminating your space is so important. I am very sensitive to my scents. So scented candles are for me an instant way to impact my space in a positive way immediately. So I have a line that I love, scent, that I have to have in my workspace and home, because it just puts me in the right mindset. It makes me happy. I'm creative and inspired, and it makes me successful in my business. Also adding fresh flowers. I treat myself to fresh flowers all the time in my home, in my office. Make me, like I said, they make me happy. They immediately impact your space. They can be cut flowers. They can be orchids, are a great way to create a statement while sophisticated and elegant. And
with low maintenance orchids.
Exactly.
So you actually answered one of my questions, I believe. How can we enhance our workspace? So you can increase your mood, your productivity, your energy through scented candles, fresh flowers, things like that.
Absolutely. Some personal photographs that are beautifully framed. And I always go with black and white family photo because it still represents my family, but it's stylish.
I like it. Okay, how can we add our personality into a workspace? And we talked about this a little bit, but this is a great way to be able to celebrate our passions and who we are, authentically authentic.
Absolutely. So I think what's key is consider what you're interested in. So have your personality shine through color. Have your favorite color. Not only will they represent you, but they'll also bring you some joy and inspiration. Topics. So we include books that represent our topics and our interests. Artwork is a great way to show what you're passionate about. I love abstract artwork. So I have those pieces in my home and in my office. And of course, they have the colors that I love. And they not only make me happy, but they're a great conversation piece. And then we talked about photography. I love this. I love my family. I love to entertain. So some of my pieces in here represent some of those elements, not only do they bring me inspiration, but they're also a brand representation of Leslie Lehr Living.
All throughout. It's thoughtful. It's thoughtful decorating, thoughtful interior designing. And we all can do it.
And
Just have to be a little creative.
Exactly. I think that's the key. Creativity and just focusing on detail. Just we don't want to go crazy and go overboard because we're trying to declutter your workspace. When you declutter your space, it allows for more creativity in your mind. A cluttered space causes chaos in our mind. So we don't want to go overboard. Pick pieces. Less is more in this case. So make your personality shine with the right accessories.
I love that. Well, that brings me perfectly to my next question for you. What are your favorite desk accessories?
So I love items that are personalized. So I have stacks of just notepads that either have my logo, which is a monogram, Leslie Lehr Living, or I have personalized stationery with Leslie Lehr Living. Just that little detail just represents me, makes me happy. I have my gold pencils, that's key. I just have a little container with my used pencils because I'm constantly writing and erasing because of my work. And so pencils, I have a decorative, just marble piece that I hold my pencils in. They're all the same color. It's a very simple home accessory, but they bring impact. I have my Lucky Horseshoe brass paperweight, that is on my desk. It brings me luck. It represents, it's been a long time, but I grew up in horses, so it's a part of my history, and it just adds a little bit of style. So look for pieces that are stylish, and we've got great options available today, whether they be gold, which is a part of, I know, your brand, Agatha. I love a piece of gold. I'm also a big fan of lucite, and one of the brands that I work with, which is an organizing supply company, they have great lucite desk accessories that can really just enhance a space while still staying super chic.
Ooh, okay, so pardon my English here. What does lucite mean?
Lucite is clear. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Can you see behind me? Can you? A lucite is it's an acrylic material, and they cut. Now we've got lucite trays. We've got lucite desk organizers. They're clear and they're just super stylish. And it's a great way to keep your items organized while still staying clutter-free and fresh.
Okay. So it's funny that you mentioned paper trays, because I saw on your IG story recently that you actually had a do-it-yourself home office project.
Yes.
Tell us a little about that. It can give ideas to the audience.
All right. Well, so I'm in the middle of a project right now for a client who is a life coach, and she's dynamic. She travels all over the world. And because of the pandemic right now, she's for the first time working out of her home office, which is fabulous, but she wanted to enhance the space. And so we're going with a white and gold theme. And she's got a great closet for all her office accessories. And we chose white as the primary color for all the storage and a pop of gold. And so I found for only $4.99 these paper trays. They were great, but they were just a silver color. And I said, you know what? The price is so great. If we could paint them gold, they would go with the color combination, which is key because we want a stylish space in her office. And so I just, for $5.98 from my local hardware store, I bought just a can of gold spray paint, and it took me 10 minutes. I sprayed it yesterday. It's already dry. It's out on my patio right now, and we're installing it today. But it just took a little bit of creativity, and it just took that kind of it from blah to fabulous. And it's just, yes.
That's the magic I was talking about with Les. Blah to fabulous. I love that idea. Okay, so one of the last questions. What is your favorite style techniques to create a workspace that is stylish and functional?
Ooh. I love this question. I think the key is creativity. We just talked about it. I really apply creativity with any one of my clients when it comes to their workspace. And what I do is, first step is look what you may already have in your home. So you might have those paper trays, maybe in a black. So instead of investing in more products, consider what you have and think of ways in which we can enhance the space. So a little bit of paint, maybe we could use glass jars or vases that you have already in your home. That can become, I did that, we refreshed my daughter's, her virtual classroom upstairs. She found these great colorful pencils, and I had this fabulous ceramic jar already, and we used that to hold her pencils. It just gave a little bit of flair to a space. Exactly. So it still is functional but stylish. So creativity is key.
And do you mix and match modern, vintage?
I do. So that's another piece that I think is important. I'm a big proponent on mixing contemporary with vintage. And so some of my pieces that we have here are vintage, like my ginger jars, and I'm pairing them with a lucite chair. These are, you know, a contemporary desk.
Now we know what that means.
I love mixing. That's a part of who I am. What I would suggest, though, for your students and for those listening today is that if it doesn't come naturally, go on to, we've got great resources available, whether it be Pinterest or even now Instagram has great hashtags associated with home office decor. Create a vision board of what you like. And many times my ideas are from very high level office spaces, but I like to deliver my solutions in a more affordable, price friendly way. But my ideas might be inspired by something grand. We can take it down and deliver it in a way that still is manageable and could possibly just be something that you already have. So if it doesn't come naturally, look for ideas. And then once you know what your vision is, you can start finding pieces.
I love that. I never thought of that. That is a grand idea. That is from blah to fabulous, Les. Okay, very last question, unless there's something that pops up to you and you're like, oh, we should talk about this. What do you think? We see this often. People like to get creative, which is a great thing, but with their virtual background, which to me, I find some of them I've seen that are fantastic, and they told me what they do to make it fantastic, and I'm sure you'll tell us about it. But some can be so distracting because one movement and it's like there's this thing happening and it catches your eye and you're distracted. You lost what they were just talking about. And what do you think of virtual backgrounds, and what would be your tidy tips with Les about those?
Well, I think this is a great question because I think first step when dabbing into virtual backgrounds, practice. Until you actually see what you look like with the virtual background, you won't necessarily know how it's being portrayed. I agree with what you had stated earlier. Sometimes it can be distracting because the way the movement is, you can kind of see fuzziness or a color change. So take that into consideration. If you practice in advance, you know that you just need to stay still. What you might also find is that you like the idea of the virtual background. If it's your logo you want to project, then practice, because you may learn in that practice that investing in the right technology and tools may be the solution you need. So for example, when we see a virtual background on television that's really well done, most likely they're using a green screen or a green, it's almost like a curtain. And now on Amazon, you can buy them that you can set up behind you. They're very affordable, but do your research. And if that's something that you see doing, regularly, then invest in that. But you won't know until you give it a shot and try it out. And I think if you can successfully deliver the message without some of the technical distractions, then you'll probably master it and it will be delivered well. But at the end of the day, it's how you want to project yourself and how you feel most confident and comfortable. So, give it a try.
And I think with all of the tips that you've given us in our home space, so finding the right location in the real home space and making it us, I think personally that it brings people in much more easier to who you are versus a virtual background, which is like that industrial office space. It has a barrier.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that what's so important for virtual meetings and for what you're representing with networking, the advantage of really using your own space is that you're developing relationships. So for you and I, when we are in our own home, that's giving us the best representation of who we are, and we are able to develop those relationships. I think that when you are a newscaster and you are demonstrating, the logo and what they've selected as professionals as to be the background, that makes sense because they're delivering important news and they're not connecting and developing relationships. So personally, I'm a big proponent in just being authentic and being in my own space. And
your own space, your own flair.
Right.
And it's bringing them into your own experience too.
Right. Bringing them in. Absolutely.
A fast pass into who you are. Thank you so much. This was a wealth of information. If anybody would like to find you or work with you, I've mentioned Tidy Tips with Les. Woo, today's the day. Tidy Tips with Les. That's a hashtag that you use on Facebook. But where can people find you? Let us know.
Okay, so if you're on Instagram, please follow me at leslie.lehr. And my name is right here on my square. And through Instagram, that's where I share a lot of my projects. You can DM me. I love to get questions. I have a lot of content, so many times if I get a question, I'll share a picture or an idea to help you. I'm doing virtual consultations, so if you happen to be outside of Arizona, that's okay. I've been working with many clients virtually. I still am able to deliver solutions through virtualization, so you can certainly contact me through DM. I have a website which is leslielehrliving.com, and then if you go there, you'll see not only inspiration, some of my TV segments, some of my projects, entertaining tips, just overall living your life more with less.
I love that. Thank you so much. It was an honor hosting you.
Thank you so much.
You're fabulous. You definitely bring the blah to fabulosity. So thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Take care.